Good morning and welcome to this morning's reflection. I hope that you have had a blessed Easter and that this time has been a time of a deep sense of God's love for you and His invitation for you to walk with Him into a deeper and deeper relationship, a relationship that would draw you into who you really are, into the person that Jesus knows, the person that God created you to be. And as we move into the period after Easter, one of the challenges is always, what do we do with this remarkable story of love? Compassion in the face of cruelty. And how do we live that out in our own lives? It seems to me today that we're living in a world that is obsessed with power and domination at the expense of humanity, at the expense of kindness and compassion. And as I look out into the world, I have a sense that we have a crisis of leadership all over the place, in government, in business, in families. It just seems that we have all developed clay feet. Perhaps we all do have clay feet anyway. But nobody seems to do or want to do what Jesus did and to put their life on the line for purposes greater than themselves. Our leaders globally seem to be filled with self-interest and the lack of courage to take a stand on issues of justice and truth. I think we all lack courage when it comes to those things, but we would expect people who are in leadership positions to be really prepared to lead us courageously. And though you and I may not be significant leaders in any real sense, we may not have titles, and we may not have many people whom we command. Yet still we all lead in some way or another. And the truth about leadership is that we all lead from who we are. We may read books on leadership, we may have certain skills, we may have certain knowledge, but we always implement what we know and what we have learned out of who we are. So what do leaders do? Well, leaders lead people. And this means they move people from one place to another. Leaders are agents of transformation. They have to encourage people to believe that they can move from where they are to a place that they can only imagine. Leaders have to be able to inspire people to take risks, to step out of what is comfortable and familiar, and to embrace the unknown. And the truth is that people will only ever voluntarily follow someone they trust. They will only follow someone who represents to them a degree of safety and security. Now, if you're going to be leading people, then you too must be going somewhere. You cannot lead if you yourself have no desire to move forward, if you have no goal, no purpose, or no vision, if there is no movement, well, then there is no leadership. And sometimes all leaders do is simply maintain the status quo. The thing that binds leaders and followers together is trust. If trust is broken, the connection is broken. I would have followed my father to the end of the earth because I trusted him. I trusted him to desire what was best for me. But when trust is broken, the follower will no longer follow the so-called leader. Unless, of course, the leader finds other ways to ensure that they do. They may use coercion or manipulation, which really is an abuse of power and not real leadership. Now, there were many biblical leaders who led from a place of trust. People saw in the leader some reason to believe that if they followed them, their lives would be better. Men and women followed Jesus because they saw in him someone they could aspire to be. Leaders should have moral authority, and often this kind of authority only comes through personal struggle and loss. Joseph in the Bible is an example of one who went through personal struggle. Moses, Paul, and of course Jesus. It seems many great leaders have had significant wilderness times, and these wilderness times tend to test and refine people. Their integrity is put under scrutiny. Their motives are examined, and their commitment and dedication are exposed, and their moral courage is revealed. People who allow suffering to transform them often have nothing to win or lose on the political front that they have not won or lost already on the personal front. They are free of the need to dominate, to conquer, to oppress, to consume, and to acquire, because they are free within themselves. Our leadership on the outside is always an expression of who we are on the inside. You can only lead well when you have come to accept yourself, when you can be authentic. And we're only really authentic when we have allowed God to work in us, refining us, molding us into deeper and deeper Christ-likeness. Yes, we all lead, and how we lead depends on how much inner work we have allowed God to do. How much have we surrendered to the call to love? When we look at the world today, I don't see any global leaders who are leading from a place of surrender to love. And that is perhaps our Easter challenge. We need leaders in the world. We need people who will step up and do for humanity's sake. But we need those people to have first surrendered to love. Amen.